So what if pretty much everything you thought you knew about getting strong was, well, wrong? We're about to dive into a whole new philosophy of fitness, one that cuts right through all the noise and gives us a path that's way simpler and honestly a lot more effective.
Look, if you've ever felt totally lost in the fitness world, you are so not alone. It's just this endless fire hose of advice, and it's all contradictory, right? One guru tells you to do one thing, the very next one says the complete opposite. So, what actually works?
Well, usually we're showing these two confusing extremes. On one hand, you've got the classic bodybuilder, right? Their whole world is chasing the pump, training to absolute failure until they can barely move. And then on the other hand, you have the functional trainer, who seems to think that the key to fitness is, I don't know, juggling kettlebells while standing on a stability ball. It's complexity just for the sake of it. No wonder we're all confused.
But what if the real answer was much, much simpler? A legendary coach, Pavel Tsatsouline, gives us this incredibly powerful guiding principle. He says, strength is the mother quality of all the other qualities. Okay, let's really break down what that means.
What he's saying is that having a solid foundation of strength makes everything else you do easier. I mean, everything. From sprinting to catch a bus, to carrying in all the groceries in one trip, to playing a sport you love, or even just aging gracefully. Strength is the base. It's the foundation that all your other physical skills are built on top of.
And this brings us to a really crucial distinction. See, when most of us talk about getting stronger, we're usually thinking about getting bigger muscles. That's a thing called hypertrophy. But in this philosophy, strength is defined as a neurological skill. It's about teaching your nervous system, your brain and your nerves, to get way more efficient at using the muscle you already have. It's a software upgrade, not just a hardware one.
Okay, so if getting stronger is more like learning to play an instrument than it is like, inflating a balloon, that begs a pretty interesting question, doesn't it? How in the world do you practice being strong?
The answer is a method Pavel calls, and this is a great name, greasing the groove. It's a beautifully simple idea that completely flips traditional workout logic right on its head.
The best way to get it is through an analogy. Your typical workout is a lot like cramming for a big exam. It's this one single high-fatigue session where you just destroy yourself. Yeah, you might pass the test, but a week later, you've forgotten everything. Greasing the groove is the opposite. It's like spaced practice. You do these frequent, low-fatigue sessions to build a skill that actually sticks and becomes a permanent part of who you are. So how do we actually do it? The rules are super straightforward. First, you pick just a few important exercises to focus on. Second, you use a weight that's moderately heavy. Something you respect but aren't scared of. Third, and this is the real game changer, you stay fresh. You only do about half the reps you're actually capable of. You never, ever train to failure. And finally, you practice frequently. You do these little sets often, maybe throughout the day, with tons of rest in between.
Now, I know what you're thinking. This flies in the face of everything we hear about muscle confusion and needing endless variety. But you know what? When you look at the data, especially with elite lifters, there is simply no correlation between how many different exercises a person does and how much they can actually lift.
So you don't need 100 different bicep curls. You just need to master a few fundamental human movement patterns. Think of it like your minimalist toolkit. You need a hinge, like a deadlift. You need a squat. You need a press, like a bench press or a dip. And you need a pull, like a pull-up. That's it. That's your foundation.
Because at the end of the day, the goal here isn't to just entertain your muscles with a new trick every week. The goal is deep neurological mastery of a few movements that really, truly matter.
And this is where it gets really powerful. This isn't just some philosophy for the gym. When you start treating strength as a practice, you're not just building strength for the gym. You're building this deep reserve of capability for your entire life.
Get this. Here's a kind of wild fact from longevity research. Your grip strength is actually one of the single best predictors we have for how long you're going to live. Yeah, how hard you can squeeze your hand has a surprisingly high correlation with your lifespan.
Now, Pavel is always the first to point out that, correlation is not causation. We don't know for sure that getting a stronger grip is the thing that will make you live longer, but, like he says, it's worth a try. It really points to this idea that just being fundamentally strong has these deep, system-wide benefits for our health.
This whole philosophy also totally changes how we think about endurance. Instead of punishing ourselves with these workouts that leave us gasping for air and sore for days, we can use something called anti-glycolytic training. It's basically a method of doing brief, powerful bursts of work with lots of rest. This lets you build incredible endurance by teaching your body to postpone fatigue, so you avoid that muscular acid bath that causes all the soreness and burnout.
So when you make this switch from a punishment mindset to a practice mindset, the benefits are huge. You build real-world, repeatable endurance. You drastically reduce how sore you get. You actually increase your total capacity for work. And every single rep becomes a chance to perfect your technique.
Ultimately, it all just boils down to this one profound mental shift. Are you going to the gym to punish your body for what it can't do? Or are you going to show up to practice the skill of being strong?
It's a simple question, right? But the answer can literally change everything about how you approach your fitness, your strength, and honestly, your life. So really ask yourself, is your training a chore or is it a practice?